Hello, welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 Reboot. A reboot episode. Hope you enjoy it. And today we're going to talk about a few things and discuss a lot, maybe tech-wise and other things. Oh yeah, and before we get on to our topics, I want to say thanks for more subscribers from you all. And hope you enjoyed watching stuff I've done. And I hope you enjoyed watching some of my stuff I did, so I hope you enjoyed it. Now, without further ado, any delays, let's get on with the show, and let's get on with the show, folks. So, the first thing I'm going to tell you guys is, and it's cool how I've been making content on YouTube for almost a year and a month. Because this month is now 11 months. And fun fact, my first video was made will be my first video, which will be a year next month, and will also be a year that this channel was created. So, I might do a few things for that, maybe in a year live stream, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe I just might make a regular video, I don't know. I don't know. I just have to probably discuss about what I'll be doing. And I'll discuss about what I'll be doing. And, it will, be, interesting. So, it'll be, a good time. And we might look over my videos and just discuss about my videos maybe a little bit. And, all that good stuff. And, all that good stuff. It hasn't fully planned out. I don't even know if I'm going to do it yet. But who knows. But as all as I know, something will go on. I'm sure, because you gotta tell, And holy cow, I'm almost at 200 videos. Well, a few videos. But not exactly yet. But exactly, it is true. So, I'm going to talk about a few technology things here. So, recently, I've been thinking about all the apps I used to use with iOS later in the past few years when they were compatible. And these times, now I know one episode when I was in Season 8, when I talked about when some apps weren't compatible. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the cool stuff about the apps, about why I liked them and everything. So, so this time I'm going to talk about something. Now, a lot of times developers probably don't update the apps. Bless you. Bless me, I should say. Anyway, app developers sometimes never update their apps. And sometimes it's not always a good thing. And that is because in later versions, like, for example, iOS 11, this time, most apps this time no longer work. And that means you have to have an older version, which means if you have an older device that you don't want to update to the new version of iOS, let's say you have an iOS 10 device or something like that, you could still probably use some of those. Kind of sucks I don't have any of those devices, but some people are probably thinking, well, then why do you update your device all the time? Well, that's probably because, a lot of the times updates bring a lot of interesting things. They might fix something, which is what I hope, And they also might bring some interesting new things to the world when they release something new. For example, a new iOS. Like, when they released iOS 11, I thought, this should be interesting. Especially if you watch the keynote that they play on, that Apple has around mid-June, aka WWDC. I'm sure y'all know what that is. I do. But so I it's these apps just don't. Some of the ones I just used over the years and months. Well, I should say the years. They don't work. Now I told you I explained some of the apps. Speak It was one of them. Now, this app was never updated since 2013, and everyone was reviewing it, and there were still reviews, unless they're doing something different and they're having a big release or something and they can't get to it. I could understand, but they ought to realize that, the longer you don't update, the more time like this would come where it won't work. And some apps even had to be taken off the App Store because they probably don't get enough reviews, or they're not compatible. They could be two reasons, probably. And that's probably why they haven't updated. They just thought, well, no one reviewed it much, so we're going to take it off the App Store, which kind of stinks. So, fun fact, if you have an app that's taken off the App Store, you want to make sure you still have it. Because if you delete it, then, you probably won't be able to download it again, because it'll be off the App Store, so. and then, so you probably should take care of your storage pretty simply, because otherwise, stuff like that happens. And, another app I really used to like was helium balloons. Now, I think I told you this before, and this might give you the surprising look. Now, this app was released 9 years ago. Released in 2009. And they stayed at version 1.0 ever since they released that app. No one very much reviewed it. There was only a few reviews on the App Store, and they never really updated it, and now look what it is today. Yeah. And I think it's off the App Store too, because the app doesn't work, and it's not compatible either. And also, if you search for it on the search tab, you probably won't see it. So it's a good possibility that it's dead. Thanks a lot, people. Now you ruined it. Because it was very fun. Now, even though it didn't have a lot to it, it still was pretty good. Now, for those of you who haven't used it, here's how it used to be. So, it was where you could release a virtual balloon, a virtual helium balloon, and all you have to do is select a color and their size. Personally, I like the big balloons because if they're real balloons, you can really see it. They're like big guys. So I would like to make them like very big. I make some small balloons now and then, but normally most of them would be big balloons. And I used to, like it. Well, I still like it. I just can't use it now because now that it's not support anymore. And so now that that's happened, you can't use it. So okay, then you can also type, like how when you write something in a balloon, there's a field where you can type something into your balloon. Also, before you release your balloon, I wanted to tell you that you also have to have your email address or any kind of contact, so that way people can kind of get your message. So, and I always turn on the Remember Me feature because I don't want to enter my address every time I launch a balloon. I would hate that if I would have to do that. Then, after that, if you already have your email already verified and everything, you can click send. And after you click send, it'll show your balloon is going up, and it'll say either direction and the speed that it's going. So, let's say it's going north, and it'll say north, and it'll say it's kilometers and MPH and all that other stuff. Now, the next thing I wanted to tell you is you can also track your balloons. Now, this part is probably the coolest part of them all. Now, all you do is click track and pick balloons, and it loads like a map that you can use, like a satellite or map, to track the balloons with. And you can see, I think you can see other people's balloons too, and your balloons that you've personally launched or released, or sent, whatever, however you want to say it. And you could, look at it. And now, ever since 2014 to 2015, the app turned worse as you updated your phone. The map, for those of you who are watching and who have downloaded this app many times, the map recently the map would take so long to load and your phone would freeze for probably 1 minute or 3 minutes. It was that bad. Then, finally, when the map loaded, you were like, finally, now I can look at all these balloons from the thing. And I used to have fun sending all kinds of balloons. I wouldn't be surprised if you sent so many balloons, the app just started to not work anymore. But yeah, overall, it was still pretty great. Another problem that occurred during the 2015 to 2016 year is every time you get an error message on the app would stay stuck and you couldn't go anywhere. So if you try to click a button, it would still be enabled, but you wouldn't be able to click anything. All the buttons, it'd just be stuck one place. And that was annoying too. And that's because I had to close the app and reopen it again. And if it happened again, then I had to do the same thing I had to repeat this process more than once. Keep in mind. It was not pleasant. I promise you that. It was not pleasant. What the heck? But it was not pleasant. And, just, the buttons were enabled. You just couldn't move anywhere because it was just stuck right on that message. And also, if you had voiceover on, all it would say is just alert. And there would be no message. Yeah. Tell me how bad that would be. That shows you that the app is old and outdated. And that's a problem, because if they don't update, like I said before, I think one of my episodes, a long time ago, you gotta update the apps, because if you don't, then it'll suck for other people, because then they can't use it in the newer versions, and it might slow down and freeze and lag, and it won't be really good. So yeah, that's why you want to work. And that's why you want to work on your, that's why you want to update your stuff. And I'm sure that's probably why many people didn't want to upgrade to iOS 11, was probably that reason right there, was that apps won't be able to work. And it's not their fault, it's the developers who don't work on their things, and they don't really do anything, they just, some of the developers are bad, they don't even look at the reviews, I'm sure. And they try to look, and and sometimes they don't even tell us that they're not updating anymore. So that's a problem, because if you told us you weren't gonna make any more changes to it, then you could tell us, and then we would know. But some people don't even tell us any of that, and we don't know anything. We don't know anything otherwise. And I know I've been talking about this app lately, but I'll move on. The next app that I told you that didn't work was Popper. Now, what this did is you could it's called Balloon Popper. So what you do is open the app. One face, large face near top right edge. So what you do is you pop balloons, and then you can pop a lot of balloons, and then you can get like points on it. You can hear it like popping. It's pretty cool. Well, you can just and you have a score and everything. And that used to work. Some fireworks apps that I downloaded, well, not me, but that I used to use, don't work. And they don't work. There are some apps that still work that haven't been updated, but some of them still work. Another app I had to remove was Talking Larry. Now, I'm sure you all know Talking Larry. It's kind of like all the old Talking Tom and Talking Ben and all that other, you all get it. And so they just quit working on them, so and I told you I removed Minecraft Pocket Edition, right? Didn't I tell you guys that I removed it because they didn't work on it? So then I had to delete it. And that kind of sucks I delete them because then they can't use them. But it's worthless just to keep it on your phone if you can't use it, obviously. Because, I'm sure many of you know this reason. Because then you can't use it. And, so yeah. Speed 16 minutes. Also, another cool thing is I also look at different websites. And there's this cool website. This one's Vocaroo. Now, what you do in this website is you can record audio recordings. But if you don't want to, you can also upload audio recordings you have. It's basically kind of like a voice recorder. Well, it's what it's mainly used for. So if you want to upload like sounds or sound effects, well, it's mainly for voice. But any kind of audio recording you do, the limit for uploading is 50 megabytes. 50. Well, I could see that because, well, I kind of don't because, it's not like you're wasting storage uploading to the internet because it's not like you're uploading to a cloud. But, well, I could kind of understand because there's a feature where you can download your recordings, and if that size is too big and people complain about storage problems, yeah, I could understand about that. But, yeah, I could understand. So, well, we want to thank you for listening and watching whatever you're doing, and we hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed the video, and I was hoping that you enjoyed this show. I will see you guys next episode of season 1. If you like the video, share it with me, let the channel grow. You know that. Anyway.